Here we go. Welcome back, everybody. It is Monday, isn't it?
It is Monday.
It is Monday.
Yeah.
Okay, Katrina, perfect. All things Rowandean. Thank you to Donna from Riverside for that last show, by the way. Now then, this is a lovely representation of sort of things that you design. You design these kits.
I design them all.
Design them all.
All not overnight.
No.
You know, quite a few
year or
years.
so in
Quite,
now.
Yeah. I'm doing my best. You know.
You do very well. You do very well. Katrina, what do you do? Describe us, introduce yourself.
Describe what I do. I design embroidery kits that are fun to do, hand embroidery with a lot of creativity. So there's plenty of scope to do your own thing.
Yes.
And to experiment with the stitch techniques and the beads and the sequins. So there are lots of things to try out on your piece of work. And
There's
enjoy.
more than meets the eye. With your kits,
absolutely.
with all, as you mentioned, sequins and the beads and or even actual bees, all sorts that you bring in here, of which, as you spy in front of us here or behind us or in the kits, they end up in all sorts of different places. I know we've got lots of hoops and things, but where kind of places do these end up?
Well, I mean, you get the fun bit is the stitching.
Yeah.
You know, the actual doing of the project. And then you can decide what you'd like to, whether you want to hang the project or you want to make it into a cushion or you want to make it into a book cover. You know, there are lots of things that you can do, not just something to hang on the wall. Yeah,
absolutely, and they are absolutely divine. And you're shopping direct. Rowandean.com is where you go. And by the way, it's like a selection. A lot of the latest ones you bring out and bits and bobs and special prices. But actually on there, once you're on Rowandean.com, you can see loads of previous ones.
We reckon we must have over 230 different designs on the website.
Yeah.
And there's loads of them with bees and butterflies and bugs. So there's a whole section on the website with bees and bugs. And you know, so it's quite easy to find things on the website.
And if you're shopping around thinking, oh, I was just in John Lewis the other day, and did I see Rowan? Did I see in the departments? Did I see? Like people will.
Yes, you'll see them in John Lewis. Yeah. And you'll see them in Liberties. Yeah. So if you know, if out shopping, go and have a look. You know. Same
thing. But here you're shopping direct with yourself and Ted.
That's
so
right.
That's what you're doing to get it at the best possible price, delivered to your door. Rowandean.com is where you can see everything, the biggest possible selections, all in one place. Should we wander down and see what's going on? Because actually, before we get into the kits, we've got some essentials on the show, if you like.
This is the fabric that we use as the base for a lot of our designs. And it's made in the UK. It's made in Lancashire. It's one of the last mills to actually make fabric. And the fabrics are just fabulous. Now, fabulous to stitch on and fabulous to wear.
Well, I was going to say, because I imagine, like, of course I could use these for the backgrounds of which I'm seeing, but actually like, with the bookcases and things, or the backgrounds, like these are really useful for lots of different things, not just embroidery.
And the sort of the wool weight fabric is a dress weight, so that you know it's used by couture designers in Milan and all over the place. But we specifically, they weave it. Takes 3 months to make the fabric for us, so you've got to work out when you're going to
get your order in.
Need the fabrics and things. But it's so lovely for the designs that I just love, you know, like the country scenes, the textures. You can use different threads on different weight on the fabric. So that the sort of natural colour, probably, I suppose I've got more designs in that one, but I love this new pistachio one, and that's just a fabulous colour. You know, I think it could go in a lot of places, and it could, you know, you could make some, you know, if you've got quilting or patchwork or whatever your other crafts are, you know, you can add those. As well.
They are both available for you, Rowandean.com, just FYI. Sometimes we don't get a chance to mention it, sometimes we forget to mention it. But it is a thing, it's available for you to get hold of right now. Let's get into the kit. So this first one is the asters.
So this is a combination of colours. Okay. So there are 3 kits basically in the one.
Oh, look at these.
In the one pack. So they start off with the print is on the fabric, and then obviously when you're going to do each individual one, there are different colour combinations and different ways of treating the stitches, so they come out as 3 individual designs.
I'm with it. Well,
right, so you just add, you know, you do the asters, which is a fabulous flower, but it's straight stitch.
Okay.
You know, it's really, really easy to do. And the coloured backgrounds go behind just to create that little bit of colour.
Where's this turning up, by the way?
So there's a bit of sparkling.
There is
some of those. So you've got the, you know, the beads and the sort of combination of colours there. But one of them you might be adding more French knots. One of the areas you might be adding lazy daisy stitch. So you can, it might be that you turn the design the other way up and you start and that becomes the top. So it's the same process, but you're creating 3 individual designs. Quite a nice size to complete if you're new to stitching.
Well, Katrina, brilliant selection. So this is where we're talking about like there's more plus because there's like sparkle threads in there, not just the background side of things. And then really lend them to themselves for spring and summer. Now the sun has come out. It's probably he's going to be appearing for quite some time.
I think so.
That's what I was promised. I mean, obviously that's not going to come true, but you know what I mean. To really reflect on because our gardens have just exploded now, haven't they?
They've just gone mad. Ours has gone really.
Yeah.
It's in full colour and lots of weeds appearing now, but they're nice as well.
That's part of the part of the job, isn't it?
Yeah.
On the drive, all sorts. But my point is being, like, if you look, when you look out the window when you're driving along or going for a walk, dog walk, or just on, you think, now this is the countryside. This is what I love to embrace. So to bring that indoors, or even to the point when it is a bit darker, autumn, winter, etc., and you haven't got, and you miss that side of things.
You've got that colour. There is something tremendous about colour, whether it's fabric or it's yarn.
Yep.
It makes you feel good.
It does indeed.
And just working with those colours, just looking at them, just taking them out the packet,
can
be, it's quite relaxing. And that's the whole idea of this craft, is that it's relaxing.
So there's basically 3 projects here.
3 projects there.
25.70, that is the asters. Katrina's put this kit together for you, so it's one purchase, but you're getting all 3 together, 25.70. Let's continue. Cosmos and snapdragons, is that correct?
Yes, this is one of my favourite flowers, snapdragons. So this is worked on the tweed. So it was finished as a 7-inch display hoop. But any of these designs, if your interior, different shapes, the designs that you hang on the wall, then you can square the design off and make it not circular. You can make it into a, if you want to put it on a canvas, you can make it rectangular. Or,
yes, I thought,
the fabric's big. So all it would do is just tack a line, just square it up to the size that you want to make your canvas.
So I do that like,
and
so I'd bring the green down a bit longer, would I?
Bring the green down
okay.
and just add, and just take the design to the base. So you don't always have to do it on a circular design.
Beautiful though, isn't it?
It's got, I think what I like about the organza is that there are loads of different ways of using it.
Yeah.
It can be a background. It can be just a mistiness in the background, or it can be texture.
If I
but
can,
here is great. It's just layers of colour, just for that mistiness in the garden.
I know I'm in the way, but I'm just trying to get the. I don't want to throw everything everywhere. However, I have thrown everything everywhere.
That's all right.
You sure? Maybe. But I want to quickly show you this of how it starts. How do you decide how much detail? Because that's pretty detailed for you, compared to some others.
Yeah, I think there are ways of stitching it. Once you've put a couple of the colours of organza over the print, then the instruction would say, do the cosmos first.
Right.
Do the snapdragons, create the area of textures at one side, and then you build up the base for the colours in the background, which is all just straight stitch. And so that's basically you're filling in with the colours.
And these are
they're
what
all
I'm trying to avoid.
stitches, easy stitches, even French knots.
Yep.
Very easy. And then, but mostly it's just straight stitch in different coloured yarns.
Beautiful design. Obviously, again, we've got it displayed in a hoop here. You can pop it on a cushion or a book cover or whatever you fancy. Like maybe a card frame, for example, something like that. Away you go. Rowandean.com is where you're going to get hold of your Cosmos and your Snapdragons. We'll continue on though, because we mentioned about the different ilks where these end up. We've then got our card making kit.
Well, this is Daisy Meadow.
Yep.
So all the, we've got a big collection of those. I think there are about 25 different sets of stitching kits. So this is Daisy Meadow. So it's worked on one piece of fabric, so that you've got 6 individual designs. So that if you're just starting out, you can, do one project. And you've done it, you've finished it, and then on to the next one. And then I suggest that you keep all 6 and finish those, and then cut them up and put them in the cards. Or you could make them into a...
Oh, yeah, like you make...
There's all things you can do, but the cards are in the kit, so, and the envelopes, so that you're just cutting down the fabric and then perhaps fraying the edge. But there'll be different stitch techniques and different ways of using the organza on those projects.
I love that. This is a real hybrid kit to me, Katrina, because I feel like we do a lot of card crafting here at the craft store and other channels, which is wonderful. And then you bring hand embroidery into that world. So if you love card crafting and that's your favourite kind of gift, like Linda Chapman, who was in earlier, said for her birthday, as long as she gets a card.
Yeah, and it's.
She's like, don't worry about gifts. It's the card because the thought process it's going in.
If you know who stitched it for you,
yes.
You don't putting that in the recycling. You're going to keep it, frame it, and treasure it, forever. So it's a nice way of enjoying stitching for somebody that you.
Perfect description, yeah. Like a little note to say thank you to someone, or get well soon, or the sort of colours on here can be so. You haven't got to pop a sympathetic sentiment on there or a get well sentiment or congratulations. Like the flowers do it all, I think.
Yeah. There are no, you can put your own messages
if you want to.
inside, but I think the textures there, the colour combinations, whether it's the meadow or it's the daisy flowers or the poppies, everybody, you might know somebody who just loves poppies. You see?
Exactly. So to have that together is your Daisy Meadow card collection, $29.95. Literally everything you require, down to the cards and the envelopes, as you can spy just here on lovely cream cardstock as well, is included. Rowandean.com is where you are shopping for everything we've just seen, everything coming up, and another 200 plus.
It's hard of it. It's choosing.
Yes.
But so here,
fair play.
It's a range.
Again, you can see like behind us, like big canvases if you want to, framed up pieces as well. So this is whatever you want them to go. That's exactly what you can do. Anyway, we're on to Enchanted Garden.
Enchanted Garden. So this is one that I think this is one of the first ones that I did in this sort of style.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a real place. It's just that magical garden in the summer when the sun's shining, and you've got a really overgrown garden there. So, but again, this is like straight stitch, maybe a few French knots, a little bit of organza on that one. See, as I've developed the designs, I've probably put more and more organza on it, as it go along. But there are lots of beads and sparkly bits. But then the butterfly, I've got butterfly on there. That isn't for one, it's for one of the later kits. It's the orange tip one. So you can combine the kits further on and you can add them to your design. It's like a brooch and a brooch back. So that's another possibility if you to add texture as well.
These butterflies are coming. And you know what? I also think a lot of people who order the butterflies on their own will like the next hour, Janie's Originals, popping a butterfly like that onto a journal or something like whatever you fancy. But again, or it could be, I say, on an existing bag, or hey, how about it? On your embroidery.
Right, yeah, well, there's multiple places, but I think the idea is that it's quite 3D, and they're all the ones that I use are British butterflies. So you can see those in our garden at the time. I know they're in the decline for some butterflies, but it's great to see them. It's great to see them.
The greater design is the Enchanted Garden, $27.95. There we go. Should we talk lilac book covers?
So this is a way, excuse me, of creating a book cover just with a really, really simple design of a lilac tree, and then I think you can add texture to it. So I've added this one included in the kit is the purple emperor and the painted lady butterfly. So those are in.
So they are in here.
They're in the kit as well. So the thread card that you get with all the different colours on will take you through how to do the design on the front, how to do the butterflies, how to create your book, and then obviously you could have designs that you could put on the back or inside.
Yeah.
So but you get a basic one for the front.
Your contacts book, a little diary, a shopping list, whatever it is. Maybe it's something for work and taking appointments down. But the lilac book, maybe it's a journal you're reading. A book, that's what they're called. Lilac book cover though, $21.95, including the two butterflies. Okay, if you're after butterflies, goodness me. Is it set 1, 2, and 3, or these options?
So these are individual kits. Set 1, set 2, set 3, set 4.
Okay.
All right. So I can't always remember all the names, but we can go for it, because the set 1 I think is probably one of the most popular, with the tortoise shell, the red admiral, and the peacock.
Is that these ones up here?
So that's those.
That is set 1. Okay.
So that's set 2 is sort of the cabbage white, painted lady, and the common blue. So they're lovely to stitch, and these are stitched on organza.
Okay.
The prints on the organza, and then the instructions on the thread card and inside tell you
that is different.
How to do those. So you're making a 3D butterfly basically.
I might show you one of these. I hope you can see it in front of this. Maybe you can. I feel like I'm doing a magic trick and showing you nothing, like Emperor's New Clothes. You can just spy. There we go. So rather than it being on the the fuller, thicker fabric, if you like. So it's same principle.
Same principle,
instead.
and so you've got the needles in there and the instructions to build that butterfly.
Okay.
And then I always give too much thread, so you'll probably get a few butterflies out. You know, you can just draw around the instruction and just create more butterflies.
Okay.
Because you won't need the full card. You know, you'll be able to add others, and then it's got like a brooch back, so you can pin it to your book, or you can pin it to
like some form of the cushions or whatever it was. Yeah.
Whatever, you know. So the cushions are just something to display on it.
Yeah. Really. So that was set 1 and set 2. Going down, is it set 3 below set 1?
We've got the Emperor, and then we've got the orange tip, and then I always forget this one because I've written it down. Small copper. And then the other 3, you see some of them in our garden. Brimstone butterfly, clouded yellow, and pale clouded yellow as well. So they're all the same way of doing those, but they are really quite pretty. And you could add those to cards, I think.
Without a doubt.
You know, you could wear it. You could wear the butterfly.
With the brooch backs, but it's just beautiful, adorning pieces. I think these last few shows, obviously with Donna Riverside earlier on, like these things that you can use to gift and then actually wear or adorn yourself, which is quite unusual. I know like crafting can cover all sorts of like sewing and things, I get it. But with smaller items,
you can add them to
You've done, yeah, but I love
it. It's a brooch.
Yes.
You can wear it, put it on shoes, on a bag, you know, or you could, you know, transfer it around, put it on things in the kitchen.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. Oh, yes, you could. How delightful. But listen, so set 1, 2, 3, or 4, each one $19.95, right?
That's right.
There we go, each one $19.95. So maybe you've been collecting them before, and which one haven't you got? Or maybe you're like, I loved one, that was the most popular one, I want to order it again. You can do that as well, $19.95 for you, all via rowandean.com. Shall we demonstrate, Katrina?
We will.
Right, do we need to bring anything with us, or?
The little lilac notebook to start with, the book.
Just the one nearest me. There you go. Rightio, so we're starting on the lilac book.
Okay, so I'm just going to start off with a little bit of showing you the threads that are in there that I've got. Okay, so the threads, I tend to use a mixture of threads. So a lot of the threads will be DMC and anchor, but the ones that I really love the best are the variegated kind.
Okay.
So that magic just happens as you start to stitch. You know, you don't have to place it in a certain way. And then the metallic thread. So you've got all the colours for the butterflies, all the colours to create the design. So you've got, and I try and put them on the card so they're easy to find. So you've got the painted lady, you've got the emperor butterfly, and then you've got bits that you are going to use the threads to embellish the.
Let's quickly say we've got a lovely lady called Nikki. Was it Nikki, Chris? Nikki, who's written on YouTube saying she's watching in France.
Oh, lovely.
Do you deliver to France?
We do.
Right.
All over the world.
All over the world, including France. France is included in the world.
Yes, that would be lovely.
So again, wherever you are, then Nikki, thank you for saying hello, and it's a lovely long message. Rowandean.com is where you shop.
Okay, so I'm just going to take the thread. These threads are 6 threads. And I'm just going to separate those without getting them too tangled. You can take them out individually or you can take them out. You just want to create a smooth thread there. So in this design, I've got my fabric in the hoop. All right, now this is something that we use for a lot of different designs, is the hoop. It's a spring hoop and it's great for the butterflies. So.
And you stock these? We
stock these. So this is the 5-inch spring hoop, and then we have one that's 7-inch. So once you've got those, that equip, you don't need. They'll last you. You know, once you've got one of those, they're perfect for any of the Rowandean kits.
Okay.
And you can use them. Obviously, you can use them for other projects as well.
I've never seen you work directly onto organza like this. It's really intriguing.
So this is like the print. They're hand printed, and so the instructions really take you through each part of the butterfly. But one thing that probably you don't do that I would normally do is put a knot. Well, this time we're not doing that. We're just going to leave the thread at the back and weave it in later, just to create. You want the back to be not perfect, but you need it to be fairly flat.
Because it is like there's a real well, for want of a better word, like a thickness to these, isn't there? Really dense.
So as you start to stitch, so it's 2 strands, so that's quite fine. So you're just going to fill in the whole area. Obviously you go by the instructions. I'm just going to move to go further down. So eventually you'll cover the whole of the organza.
Okay.
So as you start to stitch, just keep your eye on the organza, that it wants to be fairly taut.
Do you tend to do like a one level of the whole wing and then start building up over the top, or do you sort of layer up as you're going?
You just do it as you're going. And then what I suggest is that once you've done a few stitches, then you just hold it up to the light, and if you can see the organza in between,
yeah,
keep going.
Okay.
All right, so you're just going to take a couple of stitches, and then if you get the tension just change on your work, you just pull the threads and it'll retighten.
Okay.
The spring will retighten that. And basically, so you're filling in, you're almost creating another fabric.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
You know, it's giving that. And so you're going to go the whole way through. And in the instructions, it does say which colours to use where. And finally, you'll end up, and you can go back and fill in. All right, and then to fasten off, this time again, you can run the threads through the back and just trim those threads off. So when you come to look at the actual finished one,
here it comes, even the little gold slips.
Let's take that one off. That one's fastened in, but you can see.
Bring the whole thing.
So you can see actually your butterfly. You can cut that out once you finish the whole thing, and then you can stitch the brooch back onto the back of the butterfly, and that's going to be, so you can remove it, or you can decide you can have it in different places for different days. So those two are included in this kit, but the same process for those are set 1, set 2, set 3.
Yep.
So you'll see that, and you'll see them on lots of other kits as well. There's lots of different kits with butterflies. So.
Well, I'm going to quickly recap for you here just to bring it through. Set 1, set 2 and set 3 and set 4, $19.95 each, to adorn the books as you were just spying there. Oh, that one's nearly on its way. There we go. It's just come undone. A little clip on the back, and that's that brooch, as you were saying, on the lapel on your jacket or on your bag or something like that, on the strap, on a hat, on the card, on the embroidery, wherever you see fit. You can see that this one's come from set 4. Set 3 is the other side, and above there, set 1 being from your left, and then set 2, which is up here with the blue. It's all fully explained, lots of colour pictures, etc. on rowandean.com, but that is all things butterflies. Okie dokie, are you lilac treeing?
I'm just going to show you a little bit of the lilac tree now. So there is a print on the fabric, so that you've got a guide, and that will be the same for all of our kits. I think it's quite reassuring to have just a little bit of a line there, yeah. so that you've got a starting point. You're not going to be worrying about you don't have to draw it on or anything.
The one I held up looked quite comprehensive actually compared to what I'm using. So I just wonder how you decide how much detail to pop on.
Well, I think something that this sort of size, it's basically going to have French knots and just masses of beads and there's masses of beads on there. So really, you're not going to. You're going to really make it as textured as you wish, but I'm just going to show you. This is a stitch that outlines, so it's you don't always have to have it in the hoop. So
good point.
Some of them you feel as though that you can't reach across the fabric. So stem stitch is one of those. So you can hold that fabric, and it feels more comfortable in your hand.
Yeah.
So you take the thread to the top, and then you're going to insert the needle and bring the needle halfway along, and then each time the thread is going to go to the top, keep it the same direction, then it doesn't twist, and then you're going to bring the needle out where the thread came out, and you're just going to repeat that. And the sort of smaller the stitch, the tighter the curve.
Okay.
So you'll get a nice smooth line, whereas if you do the stitches too far apart, it'll look spiky. So that's quite a relaxed thing. So if you were doing like lettering, or you were doing anything like that, you would it's a great stitch for that. So on the front it looks like a solid line, and then on the back it looks like a back stitch. So, you know, that's not as smooth, whereas the front surface is really, really good.
That's all we really care about, the front there.
So the
depends who you are. Like, maybe some people have much pride in the back of their work,
well,
right?
You see, that's the thing. It doesn't really matter what the back looks like.
No.
But if you like the back, if you're used to like a counted method of stitching,
Yeah.
you might like it a bit neater. But mine, the threads we're using wool, we're using texture. They're going to cross over on the back. I mean, I wouldn't suggest you would stitch from here to here.
Yes.
You know, you know, a small jump's fine, but it won't look perfectly smooth like a counted method of stitching on there. It'll just look.
It's a bit wild.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, don't worry. I think probably that comes with when you were at school and you had to do it perfectly, and then you got told if it wasn't good enough.
Show your workings, spin it around.
Yeah, undo it. No, there's none of that. Not believe it.
Did you first embroider at school?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. And then of course, my mum was a textile teacher.
Right.
Right. That's how we started Rowandean.
Explains
And then I was a textile teacher.
Okay.
Originally.
Yeah.
And then as a hobby, we decided we would have a go. People said, "Can we show us how to do that?"
Yeah.
So before we did the hand stitching, we did machine embroidery.
Okay.
And we sold one-off pictures. That's what we did. And then people said, "I'd love to have a go." So we designed in hand. So
How long ago was that? Did you say, was it?
Oh, no, that's quite a long time. That's years ago.
It's on the website. You can have a proper
That's years ago. But
no one knows. No one knows. No one knows how long it was.
It was the way that we started, and that's how we developed, you know, the cards and everything like that. You know, it's really, you know, it's good. Anyway, let's just put the work back into.
Concentrate on what we're doing, guys. Stop getting distracted, will you?
No. So this is so all the stitches that you see, you can see them on our YouTube channel as well.
Marvellous.
You can watch everything back, obviously from here. But I think sometimes it's nice to do that if you haven't done any stitching and you're just starting out in this craft, because there's always new people, and then there are all people who've been doing it for years and years and years.
Indeed.
So you know, it's good to have a refresher on YouTube.
And also, I'm not in the way on those videos. And I'm not going to be like, I'm going to recap over here, this, that, and the other. You can see exactly what's going on.
Okay, so this time I'm just going to take 3 strands.
Rightio.
I'm going to separate those. So this time to do a French knot, I think.
Marvellous.
So the tree is very, very easy to do. I mean, I'll just look at all the beads. Too many, I know.
Here we go. This is what we love. What Katrina does.
I've got too many. I just love. I know.
Like all of those are out one packet, right?
Yeah.
All of those are not going on this one tree.
So
as you
they
can
are,
tell.
but you're going to add some to the edge of your design. You might put some on there. You might create.
You justifying having me put in there.
So, but these are, you know, there's a multiple sizes of beads. There's a collection of purples, golds, and there's lots of flowers as well. So you can use as many or as a few. And if it was me, probably now I'd probably add even more. So, just drop that there.
You say there's too many. There's not enough, if you ask me.
I know. So we're going to go with that and enjoy it. So once you've seen a stitch, whatever kit it's on, I'll repeat that stitch somewhere. So once you know the basics, 4 or 5 stitches, that's it. You don't need any more.
You're off. I'm with you.
So I'm just going to do a couple of French knots here. So this is at 3 strands, so they'll be quite small. So that you bring the thread up from the surface and hold it fairly taut, and then just wind it around once, around twice. Then as you take the point down and push the needle into the fabric, not the same hole, almost like one thread over, and then you just tighten that, and that's going to keep it sort of twizzled around the needle. And then all that you're going to do is just let that travel in on its own. Don't be tempted to guide it in, just let it do its own thing.
That clonk was me changing my battery. Sorry, Tim.
So there, that's. So it's actually quite relaxing to do. Once you start the stitching, then you can just start to relax. You know, you can look out the window. You can stitch anywhere, on a train. You can stitch in the garden.
You know what? You make a very, very good.
Brolly.
You can.
You know, you can just
on your lap. You don't need to plug anything in.
There's no room. You can talk to people. You don't have to sit up and somewhere in a workroom, you could be with be with everybody, or just be by yourself.
I quite like the idea, guys, that you can ignore anyone you want because you're busy.
Yeah,
because you're concentrating on this. So don't talk. No.
And it's just quite
You can do whatever you
easy
want.
to do.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want, really. Now, some of the sequins you'll be able to will be possible to use some of those with the needle, but in the kit there is a special bead needle. It's not actually a bead needle. It's a milliner's 10, so it's a little bit heavier than a bead needle because it's much easier to thread.
Okay.
So when for most of the time, we're going to be using the bead thread.
By the way, friends, when we're finished on the lilac tree here, I will do a little recap down the counter. It's just gone 2:30.
We're just going to that. I mean, that's it. So we've got 2 stitches really, and then the rest of the treasure that you're just going to stitch on afterwards. And that once you've got to that stage, inside in your book, if you've got the book, then you get the fabrics inside as well. The book, you just need to get a book that's got a spine. Yep. So that the fabric, I folded it in place, and I've hand stitched it all, and I've got a backing fabric in there. That's in your kit, just so that the corners are protected when if it's going around those. And you're just going to take the two fabrics like that, and then you're going to add those. And obviously you're going to place them a bit better than that. And then as you start to stitch, what I suggest is that you stitch one and then you retighten it so that you're going to get a really nice tie.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like a cover of a book. That's really, and then basically you're going to stitch over that, and you're just going to you've got the hand stitching there, and then you've got the hand stitching there, and then you've got a little fastener wherever that wants to go. But you can stitch, once you've got those and you've got a lot of treasure left and a lot of thread, you can do panels, you could do a design on the back. So that's just one part of the design. So you've got a nice way of using the organza and those. So
I'm just very quickly talking about books and things. So we've got different ideas here, haven't we? If I can pass a little look around at.
So I think this one is great in that you've got, so this is like the cards where you've got 6 designs on the fabric. So it's exactly the same. You get the fabrics inside to cover, so that you get the fun bit of doing all the stitching, whether it's the feather or whether it's a spider's web or whether it's a little design. So then you can work out where you want to put them. Yeah. And then just so it's exactly the same, and put some organza. So everything's in the kit that you're going to need, except the book. Yep. And then you can obviously add bits, into your. I mean, if it's a journal, you might want to put all the. Well, this is like with the book. Your journal, a jotter, and a dress book could be your Bible. It could be a thing that you do accountants with, accountancy or whatever, like a diary, whatever you want it to be. But it's really, really beautifully adorned, and this is the whole point. Like, I think, personal to you. And it's fun to do. Yep. I think that's key, that you're enjoying that project. Perfect. Katrina, thanks so much. I'm going to go recap, friends. Okay. I'm going to wander this way all the way to the other end, and then I'll come back and more demonstrations. Let's go. But not forgetting here, I'm going all the way over here, Chris, yes I am. Well, just to start anyway. This is what this show is all about, a little hint of, and you can spy here, and thank you so much to Katrina and Ted for bringing in all these different samples that can decorate your home. So on the windowsill, for example, maybe 3 hanging in a row, different frames, etc. On the counter down here in front of us, there's so many different bits and bobs, but all of these, if they're in stock, are in Rowandean.com. Now, normally, for example, if this was Create and Craft, remember Create and Craft? Yeah, me too. We'd have had a selection from Katrina. It might have been 8 items, for example, and that's that. And I would obviously encourage you to shop on that company's website, because that's where you were directed to shop. Now, I'm asking you to go directly to Katrina. So you see Rowandean.com, therefore Katrina gets every single penny of your purchase. But also, importantly, you can then see the full
range of everything Katrina has brought you with her books, etc. Some of the larger ones. We didn't have the butterflies on last time. All but one of these, I think, I've seen before. That's what's so exciting, that something else might catch your eye for somebody else. Maybe it's a certain flower or a scene or the inspiration of, or one based on water or dragonflies or the butterflies. There's so much in the Rowandean catalogue, and you can look at it all via rowandean.com. Asters is one of those. You can see here the butterflies being added up there, actually. Absolutely beautiful. Right, the kits that are on the show, then we'll crack right on. The Asters, $25.70 for all three, which is super, super exciting. Everything bar the hoop, although if you want to get hoops this size, you want to get hoops that size, etc. Katrina's got stock of things like that. But nevertheless, the idea is they can go wherever you want them to go. All three of them, all the organza you require, all the treasures, the instructions, the fabric you need, and of course the threads all come beautifully packaged for you or to gift to somebody else. That there is your Asters $25.70 for all three. Cosmos and Snapdragons next, a larger design if you like, but also doesn't have to be a circle, as we're talking a lot about up here before. If you want it to be on a square design, in a frame, on a cushion, on a book, whatever works best for you, you can spy there, could be in there for you. But based on Cosmos and Snapdragons, two of Katrina's favourite floral elements for you there, $27.95 is your price point. Cosmos and Snapdragons. Variety, there's all sorts for everyone. Daisy Meadow card kit, 1, 2, 3, 6 cards for under £30. And with these, you even get the pre-scored card blanks. You also get the envelopes in there and all of the thread you can require. All 6 designs are all on the one piece of fabric, by the way, under there, and then you cut them up as you see fit. But these are the 6. You can see the poppies in the middle there, like big daisies as well. Really very, very pretty designs. $29.95, and I think that, for a little note to say to someone, of course it could be happy birthday, could be sympathetic, could be good luck, best wishes, happy birthday, etc. But on the front, I personally, you've got stamps maybe, you could stamp, of course you could, something on there. I like the idea that the fabric does the talking on the front, and then on the inside you write your message. But of course, they're your cards, do whatever you wish. Enchanted Garden, $27.95 here. Again, really busy this. I love the theatrical sort of fantastical element of this. Just give you an idea of where one of your butterflies might be landing, by the way, of which the butterflies are coming up in just a second. But for $27.95, again, all of the threads and the wools and the treasures and the pins and the needles and everything you require to be creating this beautiful enchanted garden. It feels like a wildflower meadow, doesn't it? Where you might just stumble across on a dog walk, or the other side of that gate that's always locked, but now it's open for whatever reason. Really, really pretty. And if you want to pop it in the hoop, again, the hoops of different inch sizes are available via rowandean.com. Put it all in the same transaction wherever you are in the world, and away you go. The lilac book cover, the one you've just seen, so I won't talk about it for too long, but the full kit is called Lilac Book Cover, $21.95. Right, I'm going to quickly move on because you do get 2 butterflies on that. All of the butterflies, set 1, 2, 3 and 4, are represented on this cushion, of which they've got pins on the back of them, so you can be taking them off and adorning them yourself on bags, say a brooch, for example. It could be going on shoes, on straps of things, on hats of things. Set 1, set 2, set 3, set 4. Set 1 is the most popular at the top. But again, maybe this is the sort of thing you're going to do, and actually the background of the daisies and the bits of like natural elements is what's going to be the background of where the butterflies are going to land, whatever you'd rather. You're doing it straight onto the organza rather than onto fabric, but they are actually just full. Oop, I think you're going to come off as well in a second, but you can see really pretty actual pieces. You can see the pin at the back there, so I'm not going to mess on too much because I will undoubtedly do myself a damage. But just pop that back in there and move them around wherever you see fit, just with the pins, of which you do get the brooch backs included, if that's where you want to put them. But set 1, 2, 3. Change my mic batteries.
Okay.
Karina?
Well, I've got the Enchanted Garden to show you. I've got one, but the idea is that this is a sample that I've stitched. I've been working at it in the 7-inch hoop, so it's almost finished. It's got a couple of straight stitches. It's got some loopy French knots, which we'll do in a minute, and it's got some bubbly beads at the back. But I just thought I'd show you the colours that are in the design. So this time they're on a much bigger card. They're more textured. They've got, obviously my favourites are the variegated threads, but we've got some fabulous wools. We've got a couple from the Shetlands, Appleton's wools. We've got some tapestry wool as well. But the combination of colours, and then this one is a cashmere thread, which is really textured, and so it gives great effect in the design. And then we've got the metallic colours as well. So you've got a lot of colours there. So when you get your design, I think this is the 7-inch hoop. A 7-inch hoop. You just place the fabric on a flat surface, and then just release that spring, and then your work's in the actual design, and that's going to keep it taut. And I'm just going to show you, as if you were starting off, how do you know what size stitches to do? Well, these ones are going to be really gigantic. So the first thing that you're going to do is, I put a knot at the end, or you can start by leaving a loose thread and then weaving it in later. But the threads are going to be really big, giant stitches. So this type of design will grow very, very quickly. So really, the basis is straight stitches, and then as you go through the design, you'll fill in between with those. So as you work the thread, just make sure you're watching the length. So to finish about 5 centimetres in length. So that's going to be completely the way that you're going to, obviously step-by-step instructions in the instructions there, because there is a plan. I know there doesn't seem a plan.
There's a plan, guys.
There is a plan, a definite plan.
Yeah.
But you don't always have to follow it. You can. I think
There's
the beauty of these is the idea is you can change the balance of the colours, and if one colour doesn't suit, you can always add your own colours. But the balance of the colours there, you'll get lots of different textures. So you get a chenille needle inside the kit. So that means it's a large eye, sharp point. Okay. So if you're using some of the texture ones, I usually put a size 20 in, so that you've got the correct size needle to complete the project. So really, excuse me, it's really, really easy. Same way you're going to fasten off the threads at the back.
I love your scissors, by the way. They're available, are they not?
Super. Of course,
of course they are.
Of course they are. Yeah. So the scissors go with the. This is. You don't need a whole room to do this. You see. You just need a couple of hoops, the threads, and needles, basically.
Yep.
And then you're away, really. So I'm just going to put this one back in here, and then we'll just do a little bit. So that's just on a flat surface, and that's going to give you a really, really tight, and if it changes just by
what are the sizes of the
so that's 7,
yep.
And there's 5. I mean, you can get larger ones as well, but I don't think they keep the tension.
Okay.
I don't think they're as good. And we have got some smaller ones on the website that are 3-inch. If some people who like doing miniatures,
like 3, 5, 7. Okay.
So you can see all of those, but I think the most useful are the 5 and the 7-inch.
Okay.
Right, now I'm just lost mine. There we go. Okay, so what I'm going to show you next is a little bit of way of using the organza. So this particular one, you stitch the whole design more or less with straight stitches, and then we're just going to create a little bit of texture just with a fabric flower. So you just take a little bit of the organza that's in the.
Is this the Enchanted Garden?
This is the Enchanted Garden. But I mean, you use this little flowers on lots of things. I think it's on Daisy Meadow as well, the centre of the daisy. So all that you do is you take the thread, and this time you do need a knot in the end.
Okay.
Right, so that you need a knot there. And then you're just going to do a running stitch all the way down the middle. Right, all the way down. And then as you get to the other end, then you're just going to pull the thread through.
Is this a business that's run from home, or do you have a premise?
Well, we used to have premises, but now we work from home.
Yeah.
We work from home.
Think about the amount of thread.
So you're never late. You're never late for work. You see.
No excuse.
No excuse.
The traffic between the kitchen and the study.
I know. So we've got that that's gathered, and then just gather that up, and then that's a couple of stitches there, just to secure that, and then those are going to be with the same thread. You can attach that onto your design, or you can have more than one, and then you're just going to add a couple of stitches there.
So I guess do you get a finished sample picture in the kit?
You get
on the packaging.
On the packaging you get full size, so you can refer to it. And then in the instructions, I'll sometimes say, look at the front cover for this part.
Like where that little floral bit's going to be. Like if you love them, go to town, right? Add even more.
There'll be a mark. I think there's like a little cross on the print. But this is the thing. You can add more. It's an enchanted garden. It's not a real garden.
Yep.
So you can add as much or as little as you wish. And then obviously you can add texture with the French knots again. So these ones, I call them loopy French knots. So all that you do here is that you're going to, this time I've got six strands, and then you're just going to, normally you'd go around the thread and keep it fairly taut.
Yeah.
So this time I'm going to keep the thread very loose. So when you pull it through, it's going to be much more open.
Which we're fine with.
And that's, because
the next time I'm trying to do a French knot.
So it's not one that you've done wrong.
Like this, I'll call it a loopy.
Look at loopy. So you're making them with lots of texture, and you can mix the colours just to change the shade. So that's the beauty. You can make it less pink, you can make the threads darker, but really basically you're filling a column of colour.
We've got less than 10 minutes on this show. And then
I don't know where the time goes.
It flies. Honestly, I feel like these craft store shows go so fly by, but of course you can watch again on Facebook or on YouTube as well. You can watch again forever on YouTube. You'll always be shopping on rowandean.com. Stay tuned, by the way, one more live hour today, 3 o'clock. Janie's Originals is just over there, getting ready, doing all sorts of bits and bobs. And lots of these shows, I think, tie in. I was just talking about your elements going into like the album making, or there's fabrics over there, faux leathers and things. Real leathers maybe. Beautiful elements, but your butterflies could be added to the front of your book, or
that's the beauty. That's the beauty.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to show you, because time's disappearing. I'm just going to show you. So here we've got Daisy Meadow. So Daisy Meadow, you'll see we've got the flowers again. We've got lots of perhaps folded flowers. We've got lots of sequins. We've got folded organzas again. But this is a bit I wanted to show you this time.
Okay.
This is done with a ribbon.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's an organza ribbon. And then...
Is that a big daisy, or...?
It's a big daisy. I forgot. It's like a Michaelmas daisy.
Okay, so it is a daisy, part of the daisy.
Crazy daisy.
Okay.
There's some called crazy.
Yeah.
So for this one, the easier... Now, it's a bit difficult to get that threaded through the needle, so what I would say is trim that to a point. And then when you go to thread it, then you're only going to put through the fabric.
Are you threading needles every day?
I'm trying to thread this one.
You thread needles in your sleep?
No, I'm going to trim that a little bit.
Okay.
So it might take me half an hour to do well over it. There we go. So it's through there, and that you get that in the kit. So I'm just going to show you. So this time, don't put a knot. You've got a print on the fabrics to get the length of the thread. So I'm just going to take the thread and keep the back of the ribbon out of the way. And then the size of the stitch again is just going to be your ribbon, and it'll fold. It's not a silk ribbon, it's a man-made ribbon.
Okay.
And you're just going to do those. So
I mean, could this be absolutely ginormous, or is it kind of this size?
You could. No, there are some kits where I've used torn fabric and ribbon, so it could be a giant cornflower or whatever.
Yeah.
But the thing to remember is, you need to go beside where you've placed it. Don't try and put the needle through the organza.
Okay.
Because it'll just yield, it'll just get stuck. So you really need to watch where you're putting that, just so that, and it'll coil into the right place, and then you can add straight stitches over the top
Okay.
And then leave the little bits at the end. You can stitch those, just secure them with a couple of stitches so it's fairly flat, then it's not going to come through. So on the actual thing, there you'll see the little folded flower, but you can just see the ribbon there as well, making the daisy. So there are always different things to see on those. I'll just take that through. So this is with the 5-inch for the card kits.
I like this. So you make them all together at the same time on the big.
So you can add the texture. You can just add straight.
If you want more of this fabric, is it wool? Did you say wool?
It's wool.
Wool.
It's 100% wool.
Or the pistachio wool. They are available to purchase as pieces of fabric individually if you want to. Rowandean.com is, of course, where you go. 5 minutes left on the show. All of these kits and beyond, including the butterfly collections, all available. Rowandean.com. You're shopping at direct with Katrina and Ted. And then they're going to be... You pack it all, right? Kind of. You pack it all?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes. Yeah, everything.
No.
We do everything.
The lot.
Multitask.
Every one of those treasures.
Well, it's yeah. I mean, they are my mix of colours.
Yeah.
Right, so our house is full of beads and sequins.
Yeah, exactly. There's no escaping it.
Bit of this and bit of that and
bit more of this.
You know, but you'll get in your kit, whether it's...
Do you do it by weight or what? Like,
well, no, I do it by teaspoon.
Do you?
Teaspoon.
Oh, that tried and tested.
Of this, but you get so many.
Yeah.
You'll have too many. I mean, I do before I release it. I mean, I might count the beads. I know that sounds a bit, but I will count to make sure I know that you've got enough. You know, but then I put an extra half a teaspoon in. So yeah.
That's like me and my tea. Oh, there is sugar in there, but let's put another one just to check there was sugar in there.
So I'm just going to show you a little bit to add. So we've got straight stitch again here and a little bit of the stem stitch that we did earlier. But this time I'm just going to show you a different kind of French knot. And this time it's a long-legged French knot. So I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to go around once, twice, and then I'm going to, not going into the centre this time, I'm going to extend the stem, and I'm going to just add a couple of those. So the length of the stem can be anything. You know, it could be the centre of a flower. It could be, you know, just
depending what colour they are, it could be like, like I think the whole thing could be like branches or something.
Yeah,
colour.
There's
like,
possibilities.
Fireworks or whatever you want it to be.
You see on the one we did before, I think there are in the,
the
Enchanted, there's a little area of those there, and maybe some lazy daisies. So they're all traditional stitches that everybody would know.
Yep.
And if you're new to stitching, you can just think about just a couple. French knot, maybe straight stitch.
Yep.
You know, some of our kits don't have any fabrics in, some have, you know, a little bit of organza, but some are all thread. So that, you know, if you look at the website, you'll see different ideas, different ways of stitching, and lots of inspiration. And of course, you can just talk to us through Instagram and
you can. Yep. And ask any questions.
All of those things, you know,
all these pages.
All of those. But the idea of a card kit is really, really good. I think you have the fun of creating something that's really quickly achieved, and then you can cut those up and then put them on your cards. Or you could do it like this.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. You've got six minis if you want, and then you go...
And then, so this one is a Festival of Flowers. So this is a needle case. There's a whole section on different needle cases. So again, you'll see some of the stitches we've done today, long-legged French knots and straight stitch and beads. But this one, you get all the elements inside this. So this time you do get a couple of other butterflies, and then you get the hand-dyed felt, and then you get the dragonflies, you get the bees, and you can cut those. I've worked on organza and then just cut them out, and then you can either use it as a journal or you could make it into a needle case, and you can make pockets. You know,
it feels like an album. Like it could be photographs popping in here. You could put little pockets in there. You could put
the butterflies in. You could put brooches. You could put jewellery. Brooches that you've already got, or you know, everybody's sometimes got like little bits they've tried something out. You could put it in there.
Like a real, it's like your learning diary almost, right?
Or choose a page and have
that's cute.
Stitches.
Yeah.
You know, you could have a page for lazy daisy, French knots. So when you're at a class, you've got all those things to remind yourself. But it's quite nice that it's something that you've made and you can use.
You can. And
you can use, but you could do that with the same with these. You could. Some of our customers have got, a whole big collection of things, and then they've made a much bigger journal.
Yeah.
And keep all of those and keep adding and adding, and that's fun. That's fun to see.
Isn't it just? And this is the whole point of what Katrina designs for you, to be placing where you wish, and not just a finished article whether you're adorning yourself or cards, etc., but the enjoyment of creating first of all. And you shop, have I mentioned it? Rowandean.com. That's where you find all of these kits on this show.
That's right.
And over the last couple of years, as you started, you'll find the rest there. And by the way, if you want a book with lots of different designs there, that's there too. Thank you ever so much. It's always a pleasure to see you. Hope you come back soon, nevertheless. Love to tell as well. And there's all sorts of things you guys do so much. And keep it on like your social media as well, because there's a lot there. But nevertheless, with 5 seconds left, now's your time to get shopping. Janie's Originals is live at 3 o'clock. But right now, go shopping, Rowandean.com.